Now it seems to be working. Great. So, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Kim Hellstrom. Really appreciate being here. I'm sorry that I cannot be there in person, but let's try to make the best out of it. I will talk about the H&M Group, our efforts, our perspective on climate-related challenges, and so on. I've been 12 years in the company. I've had a diverse background within the H&M Group, had a number of different positions, from everything from logistics and warehousing to IT, and also expansion into new markets. Privately, I have 3 kids. The oldest one is 10 and already much more aware than I was in her age, that's for sure, about what's going on in the world. And maybe even more alert than I were maybe 5 years ago even. So I feel strong responsibility to make sure that the next generation can have the same possibilities we've had to experience the world and so on. So anyway, I am now fully dedicated to make sure that the H&M Group becomes a part of the solution instead of being a part of the problem as we are now. We are today a family of 8 brands. We sell clothes on on 74 markets, and we have about 179,000 employees. Our story goes back quite a long time. We were founded in 1947 by Erling Persson, as you can see on the right. He set up a small store in a small town called Västerås, and he had a very simple idea. Back then, fashion was tailor-made and very expensive, and something that few people could afford. So he wanted to democratize it, making it something that everybody could afford, not only the rich. He decided to start production in bigger numbers, hire his own designers, and he cut out the middleman. Prices start going down and the business start expanding, while many more people were able to afford fashion. And even though more than 70 years have passed since, our business idea is pretty much the same, with one difference. We don't only want to make fashion, we want to create sustainable fashion. Still affordable and available to many people, high street fashion could be affordable to everyone. So what is sustainability then? Or what is sustainable fashion? Does it even exist? When producing garments, a lot of resources are used. Virgin raw material, fresh water, chemicals, and energy. And it's often produced with dirty energy. At the same time, these clothes have been made by someone, and thereby it has created jobs and better lives for a number of people and their families. For example, more than 1.6 million people are employed by the suppliers making our product. The current claims on how big our industry has on the ongoing climate crisis is currently about 10% on all global emissions. I've also heard much smaller number, and I think the jury is still out there. But regardless, even if those numbers differs a lot, we are definitely a big part of the problem. We have to acknowledge that we are a part of the problem, and we need to change the whole industry, not only ourselves. So how do we approach this? How do we continue to provide fashion and job opportunities for a growing population while staying within the planetary boundaries? To do this, we need to go from a linear business model that we have been used for so long, and we have to move into a circular and climate positive model. And that demands a total overhaul of everything we do. It includes all parts of the process. So let us take a look at these trousers and follow them through its lifespan. This is a pair of denim that have been designed by our in-house designer, Sandra. One of her biggest challenge is, what does our customer want and how much of it should she buy, and where should it be sent? So today we're therefore aiming to be absolute industry leaders when it comes to artificial intelligence and advanced analytics, in order to better predict the demand from the customer. It will help us to know how much to buy, which sizes to buy, and where to ship it in order to sell it. Thereby, we can move into a business model driven by demand and not by supply as it is today. It will reduce overproduction, it will save a lot of resources, it will save a lot of CO2, and it will lower the need for discount, making it also a financially sustainable solution. So, raw materials then. In this example, cotton. Traditionally, these trousers would have been made with virgin cotton that would require 5,000 to 10,000 liters of water in the process. However, these specific ones are partly made from recycled cotton, meaning that we straight away can cut out almost 19% of water and chemical use. And that's great for one product, and imagine how much lower our impact will be if we can achieve this for all materials, for all products. And we're pushing to get there as soon as possible. Already today, 57% of all materials that we source is either recycled, such as recycled cotton or recycled polyester, or sustainably sourced as organic cotton or organic linen. And we have a goal to reach 100% no later than 2030. Moving into production then. In terms of manufacturing, these trousers have typically been made in a factory in Bangladesh. This specific factory employs around 6,000 workers, of which many are women, such as Nazma here. She has been employed for 12 years and makes around $145 a month. Compared to probably many in the room and myself, it seems like a low wage, but it's actually 50% higher than the minimum wage for textile worker in Bangladesh. And the climate impact from production is a massive part of our climate change or value chain emission. And at least 75 to 85% occurs even before we ever receive the product. So now the trousers have been made and shipped to store where they are sold to the customer. Also, this part of the journey has an impact, not least when it comes to climate. So to be able to influence others and put demands on our suppliers, we must of course clean in front of our own porch or own door first. For that reason, already today, 96% of the electricity that we use in our stores, offices and warehouses comes from wind and solar power. We also ship most of our garments, avoiding air transport whenever we can, and we use electric vehicles for last mile transport in several of our markets. We have even introduced bike messengers in the Netherlands. However, our own operation stands for a very, very small part of our total emissions. Therefore, we have set a goal that goes far beyond our own operations, and that is to have a climate positive value chain by 2040. Simply put, it means that we will reduce more CO2 emissions than what our whole value chain is responsible for, all the way from raw materials and factories to the customer's use of washing machines and dryers. And although we have a long way to go there, we can already now see that our suppliers are listening to us and starting to reduce their emissions and begin the transition towards a fossil fuel-free future. Moving forward in this journey, coming into the customer phase, electricity using from washing and drying machine adds up to about 13 or 20, even as high as 20% of our total impact. This is difficult to measure, of course, it's difficult to impact, but we see also opportunities for new business models and improved dialogue with our customers in this. One of the many challenges today is that many clothes remain unused, and when they're no longer wanted, they end up as waste in the trash bins. Only in Sweden, which is some considered the home of recycling, even here, every person throws away 8 kilos of clothes every year. But this is also an opportunity, especially for an industry that today is lacking resources. There will not be enough resources to go around in the future. All those unwanted clothes can be put back into the system and used again. We have had garment collecting in our stores since 2013. It means that anyone can hand in their unwanted clothes, regardless of brand. It doesn't need to be from our group, regardless condition, and we will give it a new life, either through reuse or recycling. So far, we have collected more than 85,000 tons of clothes, which is equivalent to 425 million t-shirts. Garment collecting is only one of the many solutions that can help close the loop for fashion. We're also looking into new type of business models that enable the clothes to get a new life, such as re-commerce. We have made pilots in this area with several of our brands, and we're also a majority owner in Sellpy, which is a rapidly growing second-hand platform that is now expanding under our wings, sort of say. We are also launching a rental service in some of our flagship stores. Although these initiatives are still relatively small in relation to our size, we are convinced that they will play an increasingly important part of our future business. And for these pair of denims, it would mean an even longer life. So what you have seen is really the lifespan of a pair of trousers, but also what is start of the circular and climate positive system, where we use better materials, we produce them with renewable energy, we make the clothes last longer, and we keep them in the loop to be used over and over again. In such a system, we have reduced the negative environmental impacts and can continue to enjoy fashion in many different ways. We can also keep creating jobs, livelihoods, and better lives across our value chain. So how far are we then, and why are we not already there? Well, if it was up to us, we would have already been there, of course, but the setup we're aiming for requires systemic change and an industry-wide change, and that goes far beyond what a single company can do. We might be one of the world's largest fashion retailer, but we still only have 2% of the market, lowering our strength or impact in the industry. If we're going to make if we're going to have a sustainable fashion industry in the future, we need the other 98% to join us in this journey, and also companies from other industries. And that is why collaboration is so important, absolute key if we are to have any chance of achieving these goals. Now, this is of course already happening to some extent, and we are proud members of many associations and initiatives, but we see a big need to really get going when it comes to performance also. Not only collaboration, but cross-industry collaboration will be a key to success here. Most of our collaborations are of course textile related, but we are looking for collaboration in any industry with any type of company that have the similar mindset as we have. Oh, when it comes to policy affairs, we're trying to push the boundaries a little bit. Also, we support the EU Commission's target of becoming climate neutral in 2050. In general, we see policy affairs as something that is needed to make the politicians change the legislations and the regulations as quickly as possible. And therefore, we have these a couple of examples here. We continue to engage for bigger share of renewable energy in Europe, calling for EU binding target of at least 45%. We call for at least 40% binding union target on energy efficiency up to 2030. And of course, being active in upcoming debates and of course, and everything like that. Right now, we are quite focused on EU and Asia. And I think since most of our sourcing comes from Asia, that's probably where we will increase our efforts also. But EU plays a very important part in this. So we will continue to focus resources also in EU. And we will locally in Asia increase it too. Because it's a very important step. It's a very important part of what needs to be done. Really be close to the politicians and explain to them and support them in their decisions. And I want to highlight, if we don't do that, there will be other people close to the politicians, maybe people who have other agendas, maybe people from the fossil fuel industry. They are already there, of course. So we need to be there and meet them face to face. That's our responsibility as a big company. Then going even further, taking the responsibility one more step. We have a collaboration, or we're aiming to set a standard, or at least a definition. We already have a definition actually about the climate positive. What is climate positive? It's the ultimate goal for a company to become climate positive. It's not something you can become through climate compensation, for example. That's something different. So we have, together with IKEA and WWF, created a definition of climate positive without any exceptions, loopholes, or any other way of possibilities of greenwashing. This is the ultimate definition for for what the planet needs, basically. It's based on science, it's connected to science-based targets, and we hope that we can get as many companies as possible to work with us, to further work with us on this definition, and also in the long run to get it to become a standard, so that companies cannot claim climate positive unless they are following scientific basis. Another thing I want to mention is Treadler. Treadler is a new entity of our organization where we are opening up our supply chain for everyone else to use. So if you are a company or a fashion company that wants to grow and be successful, but maybe you don't want to have almost 300 people working with sustainability. Maybe you don't have that possibility right now. Maybe you just want to be a part of one of the most sustainable supply chains in the world. Now that is possible. So Treadler is a business-to-business company that anyone can tap into, and tap into the full power of the H&M supply chain. I think that is very important going forward. It will strengthen our ambitions when it comes to sustainability, especially climate, I think. But of course, the customer can ask for any kind of sustainability, and we will deliver that and scale it for them. So that is a great part of our future. So we're really only in the beginning of this journey. We have come a long way, but we also have a very long way to go. We believe that our size and scale and our ambitions and long-term perspective, we believe that we have the ability to cooperate with competitors and others, and we can lead this change, and we can show that this industry can become a part of the solution in the future instead of being a part of the problem. So with those words, I want to say thank you very much for having me. I do hope I can meet you in person next time. I do hope that you have a great rest of the day, and I wish you all the best. I wish you set up ambitious goals when it comes to climate related activities in your organization, wherever you work, and stay healthy. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.